turning a short film into a feature-length film is such an amazing feat. How did the challenges like come about in terms of translating it from something shorter to a little bit longer?
Yeah, you basically have to have the right idea, and it's not a matter of just taking the short and being like, let's add more time to that. You have to kind of almost back out and look at it from a ground zero perspective. Like, take what works about the short, take the fundamental concept of like scary pool, and then basically clear the slate completely and be like, what's the actual story that needs to be told here? Without getting too much into it, I will say like it took a beat to be like, it's not worth doing unless there's a big enough of an idea, a big enough of a mystery to justify that length. Because sometimes I think that is a problem with shorts, into features. They just kind of repeat the same gag again and again. And I've adapted quite a few shorts into features for studios. Like I did a thing called Amblin or a thing called Whisper for Amblin, Baghead for Studio Canal, and I've kind of seen where like, and just watched other films that have had that same path. I've seen where it's worked, I've seen where it hasn't, and I think for me, I just want to be really certain that there was like enough meat on the bone and to have a real story.
When you were making the short, did you ever have a moment of like, this could be a feature-length film?
You know, weirdly no. There was a lightning strike moment that was a little bit after where I was like, oh, hold on, now that's a movie. I knew the pool was scary as an environment. I mean, I knew that it was going to connect with people and it was going to tap into their childhood trauma and childhood phobias, but I just didn't know what the idea that anchored all of that terror around to continue for a longer amount of time.
Yeah, and I think one thing that is so special about this feature film is the cast.
Yes.
You talked about it a bunch, but what was it like finding that perfect cast that just scratched the perfect itch for this horror film?
Yeah, it's cast is everything. They're the ones that are going to bring your characters to life, bring your story to life. For Wyatt, it was pretty quick how that happened because he's a former professional hockey player, and this character is a former professional baseball player, so we understood the journey of being an athlete. He had that physicality. He's a really good athlete, and he kind of just, he understood the psychology of that character. And when he clicked in, I feel like I was like, I started to see the Matrix code a little bit. Like, he anchored that, and then the pieces kind of came around, and then Carrie read it and liked it, and we met and had a great conversation. Then I was like, okay, I see them as this couple, and she's so incredible, and he's so great. Then every next piece of past gets a little bit easier, right? Because it's like, you're doing a puzzle, every little piece, like, okay, then that goes there, okay, then that goes there, then that goes there, and that's very much what that feeling was like for me.
And then as the writer and director of the short film, and now the writer and director of the feature film, you had a lot of time to sit with this idea, this script. When you were on set, were you finding yourself making a lot of changes to the script, or were you kind of sticking to that bone and going from there?
Yeah, so the original short film I did with my buddy Rod Blackhurst, who's also an amazing filmmaker and doing his own cool stuff. And so we really knew, like, the core of the story never changed from when we had that idea. On set, I will say, the past 5 years I've had as a professional screenwriter before making this movie was so helpful to me because it allowed me to adapt very quickly. Because sometimes it's like rain that's washing out a set. Sometimes it's just a scheduling thing that happens. There's always going to be things that come at you where, like, you see some, like, this is just not working. Like, you got to adapt. You always have to adapt in your filmmaking. I think being able to solve that problem on the page, on a writing level, writer Bryce really, really helped director Bryce at some crucial moments. But the heart of the story, the core of the story never changed.
That's pretty much it. Thank you so much,
awesome.
man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah.